Hi, I've created a small package which is called the Google Sheets data fetcher, very fancy name. And it already says what it does. It allows you to fetch Google Sheets or the data of one or multiple Google Sheets. And it also allows you to fetch, like I called them subsheets. So I would be referring to those here. I called them subsheets. You can also fetch them. In the beginning, I will only focus on fetching the main sheets data though. Yeah, by the way, I just found out I can show my face on the screen, so I hope you enjoy that. Yeah, so how can you actually use that? You would just install it via npm. Just search for Google Sheets data fetcher if you're on the web application for browsing the dependencies, but it should actually show a readme here. It says my package doesn't have a readme, which is weird, because if I click here, it does have one. Anyways, that's the command that you need if you want to install it as a classical dependency, but you can also use it as a command line tool, and in that case I would suggest that you either install it globally on your system or that you use it via npx even. Yeah, so I'm gonna focus on using it as a command line tool, as a CLI, and let's do this. So first of all, you need to have access to a given Google Sheet. So in that case, I would have read access to this sheet and via the URL, so to say. And what I'm interested in is this random string here. It's the identifier of this concrete sheet. And yeah, that's all you need for now at least. So let's just check it out. I'm gonna use it via npx Google Sheets data fetcher. Let's add the latest tag. Yeah, I already have it installed. There's no new version out there. And what's happening, it's immediately showing me an error because I'm not providing any flags actually. And it also shows me the help output on how to use it. So if you don't want to listen to my voice right now, you can also just install it and do this one, GSDF, which stands for Google Sheets data fetcher, and the help option would show you how to use it. But let's go through it manually. So as you saw, I've already installed it on my system globally as well. Otherwise, the GSDF command would not have worked. And the first thing you need to do is provide at least two flags. One is the S option, so to say. It's for providing this identifier. So let's copy that one and paste it. And what you also need to provide is the -F flag, because this stands for format. So basically the output format that you would want your data to end up in. So for instance, you can choose JSON columns, and if you do so, if you hit enter, sorry by the way about this experimental warning, I'm not sure why that's actually here. I mean, yes, I'm importing JSON modules. Yeah, maybe I can fix that, or somebody can tell me on how to get rid of that. Anyways, so what did I do? Is this actually the last take? Anyhow, I received the data and it shows me the whole thing focused on columns. So all the individual keys in this object are the individual columns. And if we scroll up to the column A, it might get a bit more interesting. Yeah, right. So in the column A, there are certain rows, and these rows hold certain values: Monday, task A, task P, task B, task C. And that's what you can see here. So it seems to work, and that's nice. You can also do the same thing again, but additionally provide an O flag, which would be something like, okay, my output.json, and then it would automatically also write it to your to this file. And yeah, so there's that. Next thing I can show you I mean, I did this mainly for Hannes and myself, but if anybody else out there needs it, that would be wonderful. What did I want to show you? Yeah, second thing, you can repeat all those kind of flags. So in case you want to not only fetch this sheet, but also a second sheet's data, you can repeat this and also provide this sheet and all the details. So you would then go ahead and add another -s and then add the second sheet ID, blah, 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 etc. So you would receive all the data at once. If you, however, also provide this O flag that I just show you, you would also need to provide this a second time so that it writes it to two different files, of course. And speaking of multiple files, yet now it gets even more interesting, because now I want to show you on how to fetch multiple subsheets, how I called them at least. So as soon as you're interested in the subsheets, you need something additional, not only the main sheet ID, but also this G ID. Interestingly, it's always 0 for the first sheet. But as soon as you are interested in another sheet, you can see once you click and activate it, this GID changes. And that's basically what also my description says, my README. If you want to fetch subsheets as well, the S flag becomes a bit more complex, a tiny bit more complex. You still have to provide the main sheet's ID, of course, but now you also would append the subsheet IDs, which are those GIDs, and you would separate them with a simple comma. And important, there are no spaces in between, because the whole argument still needs to be one single string, so to say. Worth pointing out, if you do so, you would also need to, if you do so, and if you also want to use the O flag for those for writing to output files, please make sure that basically the number of sheets that the whole thing results in, it should match the number of output file names, because otherwise it would throw an error, because all those subsheets would be written to individual JSON files, for example. Yeah, output format wise, maybe it would be also interesting to mention that this thing also supports a classical CSV format. There are no options to provide, at least for now. So this thing is now version 1.1.4. So everything I'm telling you right now is, well, matching this version. It might change in the future, of course, but yeah, at least for now, if you decide to go with the CSV output format, it will create this classical CSV format, let's call it like that. I know there's no official norm for CSV out there, but it's one of the most common ones, I guess, where you have the individual entries separated by new lines and the individual props separated by commas, kind of like that. Yeah. I think that's already it, and my dog next to me is already annoyed of me talking too loud. Sorry, Cleo. Yeah, that's it. I think I did not forget anything. If you have any questions, if you find bugs, just report it on the GitHub repository, please. And yeah, thanks for listening.